Hi everyone, Diana here. So glad to see you. Well, hello, my friend from Anakala World. I'm so glad to see you. And she says, good morning, happy Friday to all in the chat. Diana and Philip, thanks so much for everything you do for us. Oh, well, thank you, beautiful lady. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I say beautiful lady, but it I'm not sure. So I thank you, beautiful one, for being here with us today. We have an interesting question. And if you have questions for my spirit guide, Philip, just put them in the comments below and I'll find them. And I do ask, though, that you keep your questions of concern to everybody, to all of our viewers. If they're private, personal questions, just give me a call. My number's on the website, which is listed below. So just give me a call and we will um, call you back or talk to you when you call. And yes, I'm moving over so you can see Piper. She's sound asleep back there. She's all worn out. We were, she loves to play in the leaves, and then we were also out. She loves to catch her ball. So she's sleeping now. Yep, there she is. Hi, Piper. We'll let you go back to sleep. She says, I'm going back to sleep here. We will also get a message from um, one of my books that it's an oracle book. I'm just open to any page, and as you can see, every page is different. And so um, we'll get our message after we answer the question. Hello, Judith. She says, hi, Diane and Philip. So good to see you. Hope all is going well in your life. Judith is down in warmer climate. We're having a beautiful, beautiful fall here in mid-Ohio. And I live in a wood, so I have cleaned up so many leaves this year and have more to clean up. Hello, Wendy. She says, glad I made the live. I'm glad you made it too, Wendy. We're so always glad to see all of you who are able to come live. Um, yes, I am a proud lady, Diana, and Khalil. And Kala tells us, and I'm still not sure. Forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong. I've tried to figure it out and um, haven't been successful. So forgive me. And sometimes I can hear a name in my head and my tongue won't wrap around it. So forgive me if I mispronounce anyone's name. Okay, here we go. Our question this week is, are we all one? How does that work? Because it sure doesn't feel like we're all one. If you listen to the November predictions that I just put out yesterday, I can understand why we don't feel like one. And certainly there's a lot going on in our world right now. And it doesn't feel like we're one. But Philip explains this for us and helps us better understand what he means by yes, or what is meant by we are all one. Here we go. I'm going to move over a little bit so you can watch Piper as well. Philip says, this is an understandable question for the current conditions of the human world. Although we will explain in more depth and explain evolution in the process, let us first give you the easy to understand answer. Yeah, right. Here it is. You are spirit beings having individual experiences. So we've heard that in many different forms. You're spiritual beings having a human experience. And Philip is saying you, and I've heard him say that, you are spirit beings having individual experiences. That said, we will explain what we mean. Everything is energy. Who created this energy? It created itself. It has always been and will always be. It changes form through thought forms. Let us simplify by saying, in the beginning, there was only wind. It is more complicated, but we wish to speak in a way that human minds can comprehend. Oh, thank you, Philip. From the energy of the wind came the water droplets, which became seas, which then began to hold a single cell, which multiplied. As forms were created, air was breathed, and the forms gathered together to create other life forms. Eventually, the human life form came into existence. All life is energy, and all life forms are evolving. A simple example of this is to imagine if you were average height in the 1700s and you met someone who was a foot or more taller than you. You can see evolution at work in the height of humans. Within a few hundred years, humans' average height will be 8 feet. Wow. You can already see this evolution in play. When I wrote that, I thought, in only a couple hundred years, 8 feet, maybe 7, maybe 6, but 8. But I got the answer, yes. So we are rising quickly, aren't we? I'm looking because Piper's watching Lily, but Lily, the kitty cat, isn't coming in yet. I'm not yet letting Piper play with Lily or Lily play with Piper because Piper isn't quite sure what she thinks of Lily and vice versa at this point. So I'm being very careful with them. Okay, anyway. Phillip goes on to say, we tell you this to help you understand our statement. You are spirit beings having individual experiences. You all come from the energy. You are the energy. But as an electrical outlet expresses energy one way, a light bulb expresses it another way, or a candle expresses the energy differently than either, but all help produce light. A tree expresses energy differently than a human, but when you sit beneath the tree's shade on a hot day, you feel a kinship. It is the same with those called family, you call family. You may act differently in the world, each expressing as the individual, but your bodies share similar genes and DNA. And I had the feeling that if DNA were taken all the way back to the beginning and we all checked our DNA, we'd find a connection that we're all one there. Phillip didn't say that, but that's the sense I had when he was talking about the family and DNA. Phillip goes on to say, it is in the evolution of the different expressions of human life that the oneness of life has been forgotten. To remember the oneness of all life, remember who you are, spirit expressing as human. In spirit, you can recognize the one with all. With this recognition comes love. With love comes acceptance, forgiveness, compassion, understanding. This is much more difficult in the human interactions. Often with good reason, you may think to some extent this is true. But or deed. Your thoughts turn to hurt, then anger. Your actions may be to strike back, to flee, to hide. Your thoughts create the actions. These thoughts and actions create a distance. So how can oneness be felt? Let us say you spend time in meditation and prayer, reflection and contemplation to find the oneness. You may come to recognize how the other is helping you to heal an old pattern or creating hurt that caused you to look inward and discover your deeper self. You may choose to allow this person as a human to leave your life, but you do so in grace, the knowing you are one in spirit. In understanding this, you find a deeper gratitude for the human who hurt your humanness. All life is one, just not in the form it expresses in your dimensional world. To understand the oneness, understand the truth of yourself. So what Phillip is really saying here is we create our lives through our thought forms, and then thought forms connect with other thought forms and create more life, however that then is expressed. So anger is created more as anger. Love is created more as love. But when someone hurts us or bothers us or in any way makes us angry, or we in our humanness experience those human emotions of hurt, anger, whatever, that even though we may choose not to have that person in our life or push back or whatever we choose, Phillip is saying, look deeper, because that could be what I would call a soulmate helping us grow. And as Phillip says, we grow in grace. You may choose to allow this person as a human to leave your life, but you do so in grace. The knowing you are one in spirit, that the two of you have your boundaries, and the humanness, that person may not work in your life, but in spirit, recognize you are one. In understanding this, you find a deep gratitude for the human who hurt your humanness. All life is one, just not in the form it expresses in your dimensional world. To understand the oneness, understand the truth of yourself. Okay, we are one. We are one in spirit. In humanness, expressions are not of oneness necessarily. I don't think human life is easy. I think it can be miraculous. I just had a couple of miracles take place in my life, and I won't take time to explain it because it's a very long story. But I will say the magic of miracles for me is phenomenal. And I think the more we believe in magical miracles, I call them, the more they come into our life. But we have to be able to let go and let that deeper intuitive or psychic self take over, and let that guide us, as well as the very practical human side. So we're always finding that balance between the spirit self and the human self in order that we can express as happily as possible. And is this easy? If it were easy, we'd all know we read the fine print before we came into human life, and we might have said no. I always say in spirit world, when we planned our human life, we just forgot to read the small print. Let's get our message, shall we? Okay, we just kind of flip through, and that's where I'm hearing stop. I'm hearing left is the message for the week for all of us. If you heard right, if you heard left, we're just in agreement. Intuition is working. If you heard right, that's a message you need to pay attention to. And I do have clients who tell me they always heard right, so it's interesting. Okay, left says, do not allow pride to stand in the way of your growth. Do not allow pride to stand in the way of your growth. And doesn't that go along with the message that Phillip is telling us, that look at when we have an emotion that we would call negative, look at it. If we're feeling hurt or angry or full of fear or whatever that human emotion is, if it's not emotion of love, look at the emotion and work through it. And it may be that we need to apologize to that other person or those people. We're in a political climate right now that there's this side, and there's no coming together that easily. There's just all this anger. And so what Phillip is saying is, or what we're saying is, do not allow pride to stand in the way of your growth. Because if you get caught in that other person is wrong, that's your pride. And that's telling you, stop it. Go inward and look at the truth of your oneness with that other person. I'm not saying easy, and I fully am forget the help. Bounce this off of a close friend, turn to a professional, whatever. But take the deeper look from the spirit side, and you'll see the oneness, and you'll also find the grace that comes with truly understanding why this fear, why this anger, and you'll be able to transform it. It won't be anger anymore. It'll be love. And that's really what we're doing here. We're transforming our human emotions that we get to experience, because that's part of the human experience, but we're transforming them into emotions of love. And that's where the oneness is. If you heard right, life is in constant motion. Life is in constant motion. So what is happening today is going to be different tomorrow. Hello, Jakarta, Marie. Thank you, Diane and Phillip. She says, well, thank you. I'm so grateful that you could all come, to those of you who could come live. I'm so grateful for the thumbs up and the comments that you leave in the section below, as well as these comments live. I will see all of you next Friday. The November predictions are out and up on YouTube. And I know YouTube has made some changes lately. People are telling me, and then I saw it on my own channel. So if you can't find the right video that you're looking for, you may have to click on live, and that'll get you to the latest videos. I don't have any non-lives or uploads from recent days. Everything's been live the last couple of years. So thank you, my friends. Thank you for accepting the love from us, and thank you for the love you sent to us. I'm so grateful. Let's hold each other in energy, because we are in, on the monthly, Phillip said November is a roaring month. I've never heard him say roar. The energy is roaring. I have never heard that before. In all the years I've worked with Phillip, and in a few weeks, I'm going to be 77. I've never heard him say, the energy's roaring. The energy's roaring. Let's make it roar for love. Let's make it roar for peace, not the anger or the fear. Thank you. Thank you, Judith. Love you all. Until we meet again.